guys, Zizaran here. Wanted to make a video with some like leveling tips for both like new and a lot of these will be really good for existing players that are trying to speed up stuff like that. A little bit about party play, and first off, let's start off with some interface options. So landscape transparency is really good. If you put the map transparency to the right and the landscape transparency to the left on your mini map, this will make like your map a lot easier to read. You won't see any of like the fluff that you don't need. You can also zoom in and out with plus and minus to if you want to like see more at the time. I usually don't use it too much, but you can. There's a few other options as well, like always show new sockets, show life and mana levels, mini life bars on allies, enemies, and above you. And a really big one is the advanced mod descriptions. So if you hold Alt down on an item with this on, it'll show prefixes and suffixes. So every item has up to 6 affixes, 3 prefix, 3 suffix, and it lets you show like the tier, the ranges and stuff like that. Very useful, especially it can help you like figure out more of the crafting, and I'll hopefully be making more crafting videos. Next up as well, putting mouse button 1 to click move is really important. Something is very common to see a lot of new players is to have like default attack on their mouse button 1, so they'll accidentally like attack creeps when they're just trying to move past them. So yeah, click move, really useful to have there. I usually put it and start on T as well. The benefit of that is that you can have something on your cursor while you're arranging it in your inventory and keep moving by holding T down, for example. You should also look at the vendor as well early on, try to get an early 3 link, something like for a caster blue green, so you can use onslaught, or just the equivalent of if you're ranged. It would be blue, green, probably, and melee would be red, green. Like, you generally want to have onslaught for your first 30 to 50 levels. You also want to look at movement speed boots fairly early on. Vendor can start selling them as soon as you're in town, so you can do like copy pasting move and then searching for that with the Control F feature in the vendors. It's very useful. Now, if you're playing solo and you don't have a friend, you can make a mule character. You get some of the early gems that you need, like for example, a witch wouldn't start with decoy or onslaught. You can make a scion character, and as soon as you get off the beach and kill Hillock, you've already got the onslaught gem because that's the first support gem you got. You can do the breaking some eggs quest and open up submerged passage. Then you can buy a decoy gem, and that's generally like the most important things to mule early on. You can buy things if you're trade league as well, but especially useful if you're solo self-found. And you can get a lot more gems once you do the library quest in Act 3 or the side quest of the beach in Act 6 that lets you buy everything. And some fights instantly give you the waypoint as soon as you kill the boss. So for example, Brutus, Merveil, Val, Act 6 Shavs, Brian King, and Arcali, as soon as you kill these, you can instantly log out, or instead of wasting a portal, stuff like that. Generally, I will skip the first skill point until I get Flame Dash, and my favorite time to get like the Crab and Fairgrave skill points is when I'm doing the Western Forest skill point. So you save, you're like, sometimes you have a second Quicksilver at this point and you're moving a lot quicker, so you save a lot more time. For casters as well, remember that you can very easily make a +1 wand, and the recipe for doing this is 1 alteration, 1 blue wand, and a ring of your choice. So for example, a Sapphire would make it +1 cold. If you don't have an elemental ring, you can make an iron ring and then a gem. So for example, an iron ring and a green gem would turn it into a sapphire. And once you do have a +1, so you're using frost, no, whatever, right? Whatever cold skill you're using, it's less important to get a +4 because like every spell gem, it gets such a big benefit from +1. So you don't need to panic as much about 4 links. 4 links do start dropping from level 25 monsters or item level 25. That means that vendors will start selling them when your player character is 24. One thing that slows down a lot of players is they pick up too much stuff. So try not to pick up everything, like every blue and stuff like that. A lot of people go back to town too much and spend a lot of time in town. That's where you see like players like Dead and Doom really shine, because they're doing all their inventory management and stuff while running, and they don't pick up a lot except maybe a few rares here and there after boss fights to instantly vendor while they're picking up skill points. Taking Illyria as well on a day 1 character can be huge, even if you're not a crit build, because it's so much rest, and it makes especially like the Act 5 transition a lot easier, unless you're lucky on here. And you can respec this later with 20 regrets and an Onyx Amulet. And if you are playing with friends, there's a new tick under the character model that lets you teleport straight to the zone they're in. And you can do this from the zone you're in, and you don't need to be in town. So that's huge. It saves you so many portal scrolls. And it's got a really cool like checkpoint feature. So if you put down a TP, that counts as the checkpoint feature. So if I TP to my friend through the blue mark and he's literally just portal scrolled, then I will go straight to the portal without having to go through town. This also sort of works with boss checkpoints. So say you were doing Brutus and you would die there, you know that you respawn in the little arena thing. However, this also works the same for if your friend's teleporting to you. This counts as a checkpoint, so you don't need to put a portal on things like Merveil, Brutus, anything that's like a checkpoint zone. If you have TP'd in that zone, say I put one earlier up in upper prison, that overrides that from what we've seen so far. So TPs like completely override the checkpoints. So a lot of quests are skippable. So for example, Fetid Pool, then Crypt level 2, Chittisplum, Decanter, the Gruce Necklace in Act 7, Foothills Act 9, Ossuary Act 10. And a lot of these only give like minor items or regret points that you might not even need. So you don't feel forced to do this unless you really need the regret points or you want like an extra ring for leveling, stuff like that. There's also a lot of unique monsters that players don't know you can skip. Things like Corvicius. When you're doing the Fairgraves quest, you don't have to kill that like unique water blob thing there either. And there's like quite a lot of things like that. Most skill point related quests can be skipped and done later as well. I usually skip all the Pantheon ones fairly early on, like Rislatha, Yugel, Grithkul, Akari. Because they're really rippy on hardcore, so you want to wait until you're a little bit out leveled for the fights. Right, let's do the next part. We're actually over halfway done. So, ascending as well can be pretty important, and same for the first prison trial. I usually like wait with that until I have Flame Dash, but a few seconds either way. I generally do the first one when I'm around level 30. Try to have a bubbling or seething life flask by level 24 on the level 24 flask. And I generally go for the next bubbling or seething when I'm 42, and then finally the final flask at 60. Divine is the best like instant life flask because the Sanctified isn't as good when it is instant. I generally do Cruel Orb around 50 to 55. This depends a little bit on player power, like how strong your character is. So practicing beforehand so you're a little bit more comfortable and think like, okay, well I was so strong in this area so I feel like I'll be good in Lamb. Can be really important as well. Decro Totem is huge for any of the labs. And if Izaro is two-handed hammer, it's generally very easy to survive because the wind slash he does can easily one-shot you. But hammer, very easy to dodge. Merklab is nice for a lot of classes to do before Kitava. It can give you like really big strength if you're worried about doing Kitava, but obviously Merklab itself is fairly rippy. Try to do this like somewhere 67 to 70-ish. Depending on if you're playing hardcore, you might want to overlevel a bit for Kitava. Want to talk a little bit about how XP ranges work. So the base level is plus minus 3. So if you're level 4, you're getting full XP in a level 7 zone and full XP in a level 1 zone. Yes. This adds plus 1 every 16 levels. So once you're level 16, you get full XP at level 20 and at level 12. And then again at 32, stuff like that. So the higher level you are, the larger the range for where you're getting full XP is. Efficient fasting as well can be really important in the first, especially 30 to 40 levels. For example, if you're about to level up and you have full Quicksilver charges, you're wasting the fact that leveling up refills all your Quicksilvers. Later on, you're going to be killing so many monsters and it's mostly going to be permanently up anyway. But for example, say you're running at ledge, you can see a lot of racers are paying a lot of attention to how many how many more fast charges they have. And this really adds up, say 10 minutes probably, at least 5. So I want to talk a little bit about Onigoroshi as well. A lot of people farm this early on. I mean, if you have a great passion for it and you're really having fun and you're enjoying yourself, that's great. Generally a bad idea. It takes a lot of players the same time to farm an Onigoroshi as it would take, for example, me to farm a Tabula, farm a character all the way up to Blood Aqueduct and get a Tabula. So it can take between 4 and 6 hours depending on how lucky you are for Onigoroshi. Sometimes even more if you're having a really bad day. And in this time, you could just have a fairly big chance of getting all the way to Blood Aqueduct, depending on how fast you are as a player and farming one. So I usually don't recommend Ongoroshi. I don't think it's a great weapon. I'm not a fan. Again, I want to talk about Blood Aqueduct. For those of you who don't know, humility cards drop there, and these create the Tabula Rasa early, easy sixthing. We also have Channel now as a tier 1 map, which a little bit scary to do because you don't know how many channel maps you are going to be dropping, but we do have that as an option now. That'll be more easy to talk about for the next league because then we'll have more experience with it. As your first character, however, it's very easy to farm up a tabula quickly in Blood Aqueducts. Things like Brandis Blazon, there's like a Quant Shield as well, Sedima's Touch. Like getting a few early Quant items, if you can get them for like 1 to 4C each, that'll really help you farm a quick tabula. So hopefully some of these help both new players and some older players that are trying to go faster. Thanks for watching. My name is Zizaran. Try to die less than I do.